Hey everyone, my name's Corey, and in this video, I'm going to discuss what elements you need exactly to connect your website to the internet. All right, let's get started. Okay, so how does your browser find websites on the internet in the first place? So this represents our device with our browser. This represents what's called a DNS server, which we'll get to in a second. And this represents the server where the website lives on. So for example, if we've never connected to the internet before, let's just say it's a brand new computer, a brand new browser, we just installed Chrome, and we type in google.com, what's the browser is going to do? It doesn't know where google.com is in the internet. So it's going to send the domain name google.com to a DNS server. Now, a DNS server, DNS stands for Domain Name System. And what that system does is it inputs a domain name like google.com, and it sends out a bunch of information, including the IP address of where to find google.com. What's interesting about the internet is us people, we use names like google.com, microsoft.com, amazon.com, but computers don't understand that. Computers only understand numbers. So what it's giving you back is what's called an IP address, an Internet Protocol address, which tells the browser exactly where this server lives online. So this actual IP address here is an actual Google IP address. If I type this into a browser, so I'm going to copy that IP address and put it into my browser, and it's going to take me right to google.com. The reason why it took me to google.com is because that is the actual address of where one of Google's probably many servers it lives online. Once your browser knows the IP address of the Google server, now it could put information in and send it to the server. Usually the connection goes something like, hey, are you a Google server? And Google says, yeah, I'm a Google server. What do you need? And the browser may say, hey, I need the homepage of google.com. So the Google server says, sure, here's the homepage. And then it displays in your computer. And that's pretty much how the communication works between your browser and the Google server. Knowing this now, what elements are needed to connect your website to the internet? So this little display visualization is exactly like the one above here. This represents the user's computer and browser. This represents a DNS server, and this represents the server, your server, where your website's files and database live on. What do you need exactly to get your website going? Well, the first thing that you're going to need is a domain name. So let's say, for example, you want to use coryscoolwebsite.com. So you go to a domain registrar. For example, a really popular one is GoDaddy.com. Another popular one is Namecheap.com. But there's plenty out there. There's a lot of different domain registrars. So the domain registrar will give you a price on how much it will cost to register that domain per year. Keep in mind, different registrars will give you different prices based on maybe other purchases that you're getting with them. Maybe one registrar is just super popular, so the prices are higher than another one, but just keep in mind that prices can be different between registrars. Now that you have your domain name, you have to be able to put your website's files onto a server that's always online, where someone could then go and access your website at any time they want. Now, a server is really expensive. A lot of people just don't buy a server. It could cost thousands of dollars to not only set up, but to maintain. So instead, what we do is we buy or rent a portion of a server that's already online. So we go to a company that has what's called shared hosting. And it's called shared because you're sharing the server space with other people who also have websites. Now, that could be the same company as where you register your domain, or it could be a completely different company. So we have our domain registrar where we registered our domain. We have our shared hosting account where our website's files and database live. And then we also have our DNS records. Now, usually when you buy a domain name, that same company, you'll be able to edit your DNS records for that domain name. But it doesn't have to be with that domain registrar. You could tell your registrar, hey, my DNS records are going to be with my hosting account, or with another company completely. You could actually separate all three of these required things that you would need. You could separate your domain registrar, your DNS records, and your shared hosting so they could be in with three different companies. Keep that in mind. There's multiple reasons why you may want to do this. One reason why you may want to separate where you buy your domain and where you host your website is because there's some companies that are more optimized for hosting websites, and there's some companies that are optimized for buying domains. So one company could be really cheap to buy the domain but more expensive in the hosting, or maybe the hosting is just not as good. There's differences in hosting. You could have speed differences based on the equipment they use. There are some hosting companies that are more optimized for hosting and will give you a better rate on hosting. So that's one reason why you may want to split up your domain registrar with your hosting. You may want to split your DNS records from your hosting and your domain if you're running what's called a content delivery network, a CDN. We'll get into more of that later on in the course. That speeds up the delivery of your website. But that's one reason why you may want to separate your DNS. But in the beginning, your DNS is going to live probably with your domain registrar, and then your hosting could probably be with another company. But just keep that in mind. You could split up those three elements. So wrapping up this video, what elements exactly do you need to connect a website to the internet? You need a domain name and you need hosting, where your website files and database live online continuously 24/7. And both you can buy yearly. You're going to go to a domain registrar to register your domain. You could get your hosting from that registrar, or you could go to another company and find hosting elsewhere and then connect the two once you have both. I do want to point out that some companies that I recommend in my videos I am an affiliate of, meaning I do get paid every time you click a link in my description that leads you to those services. For example, Namecheap.com. I do highly recommend that you use Namecheap.com for your domain names. I also am an affiliate of TMD Hosting, TMDhosting.com. That is also another link in my description. However, if you're watching this video as part of my WordPress website creation course in 2020, don't buy your domain and hosting just yet. We're going to get to that later on in the course. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how actually a website works internally with the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and how they work together to create a website. Please post any questions or comments below. I will respond to as many as possible. If you found this video valuable in any way, please click on that like button. It will help others find this video as well. Also, if you like this is one video of my website, WordPress website series in 2020, where I'm doing a complete free web tutorial of how to create a WordPress website. This is just one video of many videos. So if you want to see all those videos, please subscribe, and then you could see me create these videos. Currently, it's September of 2020, and I'm pushing out these as many as I can. New videos are coming out every week. If you need help with your WordPress website, there is a link below where you can click on and it will ask you a bunch of questions about your specific project. So I want to thank you again for watching this video. Please take care and stay passionate to your goals. Bye-bye.